Now that we know that Ezekiel Elliott is going to be eligible to play Sunday night in the season opener against the New York Giants, the question turns to what kind of performance can we expect out of him in his season debut? We know they kept it light for him in the preseason, and last year against the Giants in the very first game of the season, he only had 51 rushing yards. Second game later in the season, he only had 107. Now, the Giants aren't exactly the same defense as they were last year, but last year they were very formidable. They were second in DVOA ranking, which is a Football Outsiders metric that basically takes performance and then adjusts it based on the teams that an opponent plays. And the Giants ranked second, which means that there was no mirage about their defensive rushing rankings. They are really that good. But they did lose Jonathan Hankins, and they're replacing him with Jay Bromley at that nose tackle position. So it'll be very interesting to see if that makes a difference. Now, one of the great things that was discovered in checking out the stats is the Giants only gave up 100 yards rushing to a team 6 times on the season last year. They only gave up more than 118 rushing yards once, and that wasn't even to the Cowboys. But the interesting thing to note here is that the Giants played 5 games in the prime time last season, and of those 5 games, 4 of them were part of the 6 that they gave up over 100 yards. So they do seem more susceptible to giving up yardage when they play at night, when they have the energy burning all day long, waiting for that kickoff, and a lot of that gets lost when you're extra excited. And you would imagine they would be extra excited for this first game of the season. Now, beyond that, we have to look at the wear and tear that the entire suspension ordeal has had on Ezekiel Elliott, and I think that's where the key is going to come out. How does he handle the fact that he's been in court, that he's been dealing with the suspension, because the mental wear and tear of all that has to weigh heavily on any player. It can go one of 2 ways. It can mean that he's going to have a lackluster performance because his mind really isn't in it or hasn't been in it, or he could be looking at the being on the field as kind of an escape from everything. He's finally going to be able to play. We knew he wasn't going to touch the ball much in the preseason. He did what he did in the dress rehearsal game, but outside of that, he didn't get very much work. He's been going back and forth to hearings and trials and things of that sort. So does this turn into, let me show the world on the national stage how good I really am at this thing of football, which is what I'm paid to do, which is what I love to do, or does it turn into the type of situation where he's a little bit fatigued and he's not really into it? My money is that he's going to want to show the world how good he is. Now, the interesting thing about Ezekiel Elliott is last year in the 2 games against the Giants, he only caught 1 pass. We know the Cowboys intend to feature him in the passing game a lot more than they did in the past. So I would actually look for him to have several catches, 4 or 5 catches on this game, and make up whatever difference. I do think he's going to go over 100 yards. I think he's going to get 4 or 5 catches, and that could turn into something big because the Giants will have to respect him in the running game and crowd the box. Now, they don't have the best linebackers, which I think is where the advantage is going to come in when you swing Elliott out, when you take him on a circle routes and things like that out of the backfield where it might appear that he's blocking to begin with, and you can single him up on a linebacker. I think that's where the advantage is going to be for the Cowboys as they move forward, hopefully to this victory on Sunday night. You know what it is. This is your Morning Minute. I'm KD Drummond. Salute.